Have you ever seen an angel on a December night when the light of hope is all burned out? Have you ever seen an angel?
Hello, and you're listening to the Hult Center Podcast. I am Dan from the marketing team, and I am pleased to be speaking with Shara Nova from My Brightest Diamond, and she's going to be here on October 17th for our 10 for 10 series. That's every ticket is $10. You can learn more about the series at hultcenter.org/10x10. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. What an
let's
amazing program. That's so unprecedented to do $10 tickets anymore, and I think it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been very fun, and it's an eclectic lineup every year, and it's just been great. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. People just get to see things that they otherwise might not go out to see, which I think is tough these days. There's so much music, you kind of stick to what you know, but if it's only $10, you can take a chance.
And a lot of times, even as a like, kind of underground artist, the ticket fees that we have to charge, I mean, that
Oh, yeah.
I never see that money, the venue never sees that money, the promoter doesn't see that money. It's all going to the mysterious machine.
Yeah.
There's a lot we have to rail against these days to keep musicians working.
Yeah, who knew it would cost an extra $7 because you use the internet, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. Let's get into this. Your brand new album, Fight the Real Terror, it really hits hard. It strikes me as like deeply personal and really confident. Can you tell me about its origins and the recording process, and really anything you want to share about that?
I had 1 month to write a record, and I dressed up, went to the desk every day for a week, and nothing came out. And in the second week, I saw that Sinéad O'Connor had passed. And within 30 to 45 minutes, there was a huge windstorm that came through Detroit and knocked the power out for 3 days. So I was sitting there with my guitar on my couch, no power, just sobbing and really, topping up my phone in various ways, watching tons of interviews of Sinead and contemplating her life and the massive impact that she had on so many people and on me. And finally, on the third day, I began to sing. And as I let out this wail, the lights came on. And then from there, the record started unfolding very, very quickly. And I was able to write a song a day, a song every couple of days, and make my deadline. And then was able to go stay on schedule and record with Tom Schick at the Loft in Chicago.
Very cool. And are you present for all the mixing and mastering as well? Like hands-on?
I went to Tom Schick in Chicago, which is Wilco's studio, and I brought him all the recordings that I'd made in the previous 3 weeks. And I was thinking, okay, great, we're in a real studio now. We can re-record everything. And he said, no, we're not re-recording any of this. And Tom was like, play this. So we basically doubled all the parts that I had already done. And his opinion was that it was a singular idea, and that rather than adding complexity, to go very strongly in it being a solo record, it being all from one person's hand and one person's brain. And I decided to trust him. And it's against my impulse as an orchestrator, a composer, to, stay with such simplicity. But that's what I was paying him for, was for his opinion. and so I took it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds
So
great.
just
So,
thank you. Well, and to answer your question, we started on a Monday morning and made a couple last tweaks on a Friday, and that was it. So from all the recording, all the mixing happened inside 4.5 days with Tom.
that's got to be some kind of record. But it's like, but yeah, I guess you can't recreate. You were in a moment, you were feeling something, and you can't recreate that in a studio just because you might get a run through a better preamp or something. It doesn't do what you think it would do because your emotions were so high.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted, because my past records have been so carefully, worked in such detail. I really thought I need to, like a art teacher would have you do a 10-minute drawing or do a
Hmm.
sketch. I need to just allow myself this more visceral, immediate rush of an experience and see where that takes me.
Yeah. I mean, that's how records used to be recorded. Like Sound City, like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers would just play,
Mm-hmm.
and that was
Mm-hmm.
it. And if someone had messed up something, well, it's probably on the record still. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, with all this technology, sure, fidelity has gotten better, but maybe we've lost our soul a little bit.
Part of the trick with My Brightest Diamond is that my drummer and bass player, we've only ever been in the room together once in our whole lives.
Whoa.
So we've made what I call relay records, where I would fly to Berlin, meet my drummer, and then Chris Bruce, Earl Harvin is the drummer that I've worked with for 25 years. And then Chris Bruce would do his tracks separately. So there was this kind of like always a need. If I wanted to work with the people I wanted to work with, I had to catch them wherever they were.
Hmm.
I made
Busy.
one record in a room, and that was the third record with Y Music and amazing drummer Brian Wolf.
And how does that one stack up personally for you?
It is the most live. I mean, that record as well was made in very quickly.
Mm.
Um, I think I love that record. I think maybe it doesn't have some of the foreground background. Everything is pretty foreground. So in terms of dimensionality of a listening experience, sometimes I maybe would reconsider some of the way in which I treated foreground and background.
Hmm. Cool. Um, what do you hope people take away from this album?
I think the record doesn't provide an answer to the question of what is the terror. And I think there's an inclination to want to answer that question. But more so for me, it is sitting inside the challenge that Sinead gave to all of us on Saturday Night Live when she said to fight the real enemy.
Oh yeah.
And so I think it's more a contemplation of her life and also what it is to look at one's own vulnerability, love who you love, and at the end of the day, there is a fight externally to be had. So it's more contemplative.
A very famous moment on TV, if people aren't aware, during her performance, she tore up a picture of the Pope.
Yes, she sang Bob Marley's War
Yeah.
a cappella, which was originally a criticism of racism, and she turned it to be a criticism of the Catholic Church,
Yeah.
who were sexually violating children, and nobody was
Yeah.
saying anything about it.
Yeah.
And she was martyred for that.
Yeah. Yep.
In many ways, I would call it a martyrdom.
Yeah, I'd agree. Um, where do you prefer people listen to this record? I know online or buy it on vinyl? What's your preference?
I like people to listen to the record,
Just
period.
good.
And I hope they will come to a $10 show. And if they really like it, they could subscribe to my mailing list on Substack. I do a lot of free stuff. Obviously, I am a musician and I need to survive, and Spotify ain't doing that. But
No,
I listen to Spotify too, so somehow we have to find a way. But also, I appreciate just anybody listening
great.
and telling a friend, because I think that's the other thing. If you like it, and sharing that with other people is more valuable now than ever.
Very true. Is there a favorite that you like to perform from this album?
I really enjoy Rocket in My Pocket. That one is just fun. It's very loud, and it's it's subversive. I enjoy it.
Okay. We can look forward to hearing that one at the show.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. And so sonically speaking, there is a lot going on. You said it was all you. So what challenges do you face when performing live?
I perform all of the record except for, I think, 3 songs, and part of the reason for that is the song Sublime it's in a 12/8 time signature with the drums coming in and out, and it's just a really mathematically difficult song to play, and I just maybe haven't had enough time to practice it.
That's
So
fair.
one day I hope to work up to it. And then There's No Place I'd Rather Be has like 45 chords in it or something like that. It's just so many chords, and it's deceptive in that. And so Tom had me play it on guitar rather than piano. It's much easier to play on piano, but it sounds nice on guitar, and it's so many chords. And so those
That's a lot of chords.
those two I haven't had enough practice time yet.
That's okay. And so not only did you put out a full length, but you recently had a run on Broadway with the show Illinois. So busy time here for you. How was that? What was that experience like?
Yeah, I worked with Sufjan Stevens in 2005 and 6 and lots of years, and I toured with him for his record Michigan, and then was part of making the album Illinois and toured that record. And so bizarrely, 19 years later, Justin Peck called me up and said, "Hey, we're going to do a musical. Would you like to be in the band?" And I said yes. It worked out with my schedule. And so I was the only original band member. And it was I don't think anyone can prepare you for the sheer Olympic nature of doing 8 shows a week. And what's bizarre is it wasn't the singing that was fatiguing. There is a different kind of just tremendous amount of whirlwind that goes around the business aspect of it, the amount of people, the physicality of standing in the same way
Mm-hmm.
has more of an impact than singing the show. So
Because
it
you're
was
not
it was
you weren't tucked. You're
definitely
not tucked away. Like
no. We
you're
were
not in like a pit. You're on stage.
right.
Yeah.
We weren't dancing, but it was more like the act of holding that instrument for as many hours as I needed to.
Yeah.
It was more like the impact of that on the body.
Sure.
But I'm really glad that I did it. It was a child's dream.
Yeah. That's great. It's a good record too.
Thank you.
Um So now I think I have a set of questions that are just kind of fun, and maybe not all fun answers, but just a little more to get to know you. I think so people can connect to you on a different level. Um, was there a single moment or song or person that put you on the path to become the artist that you are?
My father is an accordion player, and he was a church choir director. And so there's this rum 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 tum tum rum 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 tum tum rum, and that he would play for us as kids. And I think having music in our home and it being the way we communicated as family, that inevitably, I mean, indubitably
Hmm.
shaped me for sure.
Nice. When performing, are you nervous until you hit that first chord?
I'm a nervous wreck, and a lot of it has to do with technology, whether or not my stuff is going to work.
Sure.
Um, yes, and then once I hit the chord, if everything's working, then I can sink into the music, and that is the greatest gift, to be able to have music as a human being.
Yeah.
Maybe love is is pretty great in the gifts, but we're sure lucky to have music.
Agreed. As a multi-instrumentalist, is there a particular that you like to play, or is it mood depending?
I like the guitar. I prefer the guitar myself because it's very physical. So you can put all of the emotion into the body, and it lands in the guitar in a different
Hmm.
way than piano does. So for me, I prefer the ability to move with the instrument
Okay.
of guitar.
And are you finding that you write more on guitar because of that?
For this record, I did. I absolutely focused on the guitar.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
And when are you most creative?
2 p.m.
All right. That's very specific.
The morning is usually like trying to get everything ready to be creative. I do try to treat, Leonard Cohen talked about getting dressed and going to the desk and treating songwriting like a job. And
Okay.
I very much follow that. Um, and and yet at the same time, I find that all the goo hasn't quite gotten together until about 2 o'clock. Then finally the songs or the ideas start to gel.
We should start. We'll start doing that at work too. Be like, yeah, the goo hasn't got together. It's not two
Nope.
o'clock yet, so you just wait a little bit. Um, is there a terrible song that you absolutely love to sing in the car or the shower, or something that would surprise people?
Oh, um, a terrible song?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe an unexpected song that you might love to sing in those places that people
I mean,
wouldn't expect.
"See as Chandelier" is not a terrible song. I think it's a great song, and it's very, very hard. So I sometimes will give a Sia song a whack and see
How it goes.
how it goes.
um, chocolate brownie or mint chocolate chip?
Mint chocolate chip, gluten
Yeah.
free. I
Okay.
hate to say it, but I'm fully. I can do that mint chocolate chip ice cream now.
All right. And is there an album that you could just listen to endlessly, you know, cover to cover?
Prince Sign of the Times.
Nice.
That's a
Well,
double album. Does that count?
that's fine. That's fine. Well, we're excited to have you at the Hult Center. I think it's going to be it's my birthday, so already, people are
Hey,
coming out.
awesome.
So it's going to be a good night, and again, $10 tickets for every seat. October 17th, My Brightest Diamond. You can find more information at hultcenter.org/10x10. We're really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.